All right. All right. Welcome, guys. Welcome here to another session, another stream, another podcast, whatever you want to call it, here on the Chaos Rain Show. I am the one on it. Chaos Rain. Today, we're going to have this discussion that was been lingering on my mind for some time. What's this? Oh, that's not good. Looks like Windows 10 is going to end its some support. I'll venture update. Um, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Chaos Rain Show. And for those that want to be new to the channel, you know what to do. You hit the subscribe button, hit the top notification bell for uploads and live streams here on the Chaos Rain Show. The links to follow me are in the description, and I'll tell you the links to follow me below. You can follow me on Twitter at Chaos Rain 7. You can also add me as a friend on Facebook, Eric Ray on Facebook. You can also follow me on Rumble as well. And what else? Oh, and make sure you join my Discord service as well. I also have a Discord as well. Yes, I do. What else? And always, like always, become a member of the Chaos Rain Show as well. Membership has perks, like always. And why not? You want to become a member? What you waiting for? Hit that join button. Become one of many in the lines to restore order in which the world we live in today, the entertaining world, regular disorder. This is Chaos Rain, so become a member of the Chaos Rain Show as well. And I'm just checking some notifications here and here. And I'm trying to look at some things now. What's this? Oh, no. Oh, wow. There's a lot of activity going here on social media. I did not notice. A lot of people been saying things about the presidency's selected parties. But nonetheless, the show must go on. I think I said a few things. And like I said, I'll be looking at the likes periodically. I mean, I'm always going to give them notice when the likes are certain subpar. And it'll be nice to y'all guys hit the like, but likes are free, So I always encourage and emphasize, like the stream. Okay. Let me just check my volume. Let me see how I sound. Like the stream. Okay, my volume's good, and so I'm happy that. All right, let's run this tape. Well, before I run the tape, as you know, the title speaks for itself as you read the title. But let's go deeper before I run this. There's some circulating out here for the last, I would say 2 months, maybe 3 months ago. There was some conversation going on with a particular ladies on some form of podcast or sit down. And a lot of people were make its rounds throughout the internet in regards to the position of a wife and the position of a whore, or they call it prostitute. And yes, the whore with WHORE, I believe, not HORE, or where you want to pronounce it, the word itself. And what was been floating around and what the word on the street is that I am rephrasing this now and looking at this more broadly is the notion that women today, if they're married, they are considered paid prostitutes. Like literally, you're paying your wife to, be around your comfort, or like a actual companionship, or whatever you want to call it. Somewhat of a, transactional thing. Like literally. And I think these two ladies that's gonna have these conversations, especially one that is a certified whore, and she loving it. And let's be honest. I guess she does her job pretty well, and it does pay to be a whore in the streets where you're at. In America, women now, they're more in the more transactional status with a lot of men, and for good reason, good or bad. it's not really working well or working fanning out for a lot of modern Western women here in America. And I'm saying all modern Western women, especially the black ones. Your whoredom doesn't really pay off in the beginning parts or in the end parts of anything. I think most people that are about that life should stay in the horse place, or the garden tour, you want to call it. And much as I don't want to be vulgar tonight or today, but we're going to go there tonight because we have to emphasize this thing about what is this thing about wives and women that are adult entertainers that get paid for their time and energy, including, get paid to wax off a man, and lack of better words. So let's run this tape. This tape is long. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go for it, but I'm gonna go for it as best as possible with some honest criticism. But keep in mind, people, when you watch this or go through this playback, right? You gotta really emphasize, pay attention to the language that's being used here, to what is trying to promote. Because let's be honest, and let's be fair honest here. If certain Western women have this thinking and trying to promote this with other young, feeble-minded women, that your relationship is always transactional and is nothing more, nothing less, then really, truly, it really diminish or defeat the purpose of really actually building real bonds and actually working as a wife role, while the man is trying to play the best his ability, the husband role in this so-called marriage relationship. So, enough further ado, let us begin. And like always, we'll do fair use. Let's begin.
Genuinely am a soft person, and that is the reason why it's important for me as a woman, especially a black woman, to have that solid exterior, because when you're a woman and you're kind, people will try to take advantage of that kindness.
Now, don't be mind with the language, because the way how the ladies are speaking on this particular podcast, they are from England, Europe. And Europeans, they use very fine, refined, almost somewhat English language, old English language that was derived back in the existence of Europe. You know, British language, or but you get the point. And for those that know, you can see the amount of tattoos and the piercings. This is obviously, she is the lady of the night, which most men in the UK, some black and mostly non-black, will have their fun time with the negroids up there in Europe. Let's keep going. Various.
Especially men,
Mm.
especially intracommunally, referring to black men. That's something that I have not just experienced, but have seen happening as a pattern in our community. And it's something that our mothers have been affected by, our aunties, our grandmothers. It's a generational thing, but also it's systemic. So it's something that seems to be an ongoing thing where, as a black woman myself, when I do lead with the energy of being stern and being like, you're going to need to prove yourself to me as a man,
Mm.
to people online who are reading the way that I share those ideologies, it does come across really stern and harsh. But the ultimate motive behind the work I do is to encourage women to understand that you don't lose anything from standing up for yourself and being sure of your worth in the face of men who want to sleep with you. What you lose out on is men who were never meant for you. You only stand to gain, and it
Oh,
might slow down the process for you in terms of, oh, I'm not sleeping with as many people, my phone's a bit quiet. But for me, I lead with quality versus like the quantity of men moving to me.
so what type of men then do you feel like you attract?
Now, before she asks that question, the talk about will you gain or lose value once you engage in transactional, you know, cock carousel activities. The answer, you do lose value. And the reason why you lose value is because you are engaging in really, let's be honest, bad faith with the opposite sex, with very low intentions or lack of intentions. And you're just on here just to get a quick buck or two, and then hopefully the night will end smoothly, or maybe end far left. You be off your merry ways. that's what you decide to do, and that's what you serve to Western or Middle East or Eastern men, because this is in UK, but same thing applies here in America because some women are well adapted to this as well. That if you don't gain nothing, you don't really gain nothing, and usually your dignity is lack of. You won't gain that either. So overall, let's be fair and honest. Let's really be honest. You are going to still be a woman because that is the sex that you derive on. But what type of woman are you? What qualities? The outcomes. Now, if you look at things as woe is me, there's no sense of doing what is right or what is intentional, you decide just to slut yourself out, you could do that. You're free to do so. No one's going to stop you. But at the end of the day, you must understand, in this game of the transactional situationship, right? If you are the adult entertainer of that department you're in, that field you're in, you always gonna come out snake eyes at the end of the day. And to be clear, honest, most women prefer to be snake eyes generally. But what do I know? What do I really know? All right, let's keep going. Fair use, fair use.
Because then I feel, because the thing with me is where what I kind of struggle with is if a man knows that he has to do such and such and such to maybe get to where he feels like he needs, does he not then just follow those rules? And then how do you decipher between a man that is just following these instructions to a man that because he just wants to get what he wants, or a man that is following the instruction because he genuinely likes?
Oh, another side note. For those that I did not lay out, I will lay now if you get far to this video. And you see the images. There are many images I could post out to make my point about this is the wife and this is the adult entertainee here. I could have done that. But for the sake of conversation, I want to be present. And you must keep in mind, the picture you see might be represented is beyond the two images you see on the thumbnail. This can also apply to other women that are not what's on the thumbnail as well, if they fall or adopt this ideology. So that's the disclaimer that if you did not know, you now know now. Let's keep going.
Wants to get to your heart and your softness. How do you figure out the both? How do you know?
Wonderful question. So, in terms of deciphering between a man who's just following the rules to get the pussy versus a man who is going to abide by your boundaries because he loves you, for a while you won't be able to tell the difference, and that's
Then
why
you're just getting your heart broken.
for me it's like that's why time is a key factor.
You have to do trial and error then.
That's the thing, right? In this whole life, this whole existence as human beings is trial and error, but the key component here is time. So I think that a man can do whatever you want to, but he will eventually lose stamina if his goal was genuinely to sleep with you and to get the ego stroke.
Do you think so? Because I think some men are wicked, Chidi, and
only some.
No, but I do. I feel like some of them are so wicked, that they will do that. And I feel, especially sometimes, even when it pertains to women like me and you, who have online presence as well, and have this, especially where they feel like, oh, you're this, and then they have this weird fantasy about trying to break you down and being the one that conquered, and like, oh yeah, see, she's online doing all this talk, but look what Then man will wait 8 months.
Of course they will.
So, and then what happens? So then
some men are wicked, but I'm more wicked.
Oh wow, okay.
I mean it, and why I say I'm more wicked is because,
well, like I said, she said she is more wicked than the men that they said wicked, and I think the term wicked means bad intention, evil, derogatory. That's the thoughts I get when they use the word wicked. But she could be as devilish as the men. Imagine that. Anyhow, let's keep going. Fairies.
I enjoy being 3 steps ahead. As women, we are always 3 steps ahead, but sometimes we talk ourselves out of our knowledge. So what I mean by that is we know men want to sleep with us. We know that if we flash a tit at a guy, he's going to get hard on. Like, there are certain things we do that are going to get a particular response out of a man.
Right, okay.
And so, in being 3 steps ahead, if you know this guy obviously wants to sleep with me, well, I'm going to leverage that, because I see how men move, right? When they know that a woman is desperate for a relationship, or she's at that age, like the age group we're at now, where it's like, oh, desperate for marriage, you know, this type
Right.
of propaganda
Okay, yeah.
of get married and have children. They know that certain women are desperate for that companionship and that holy union. So they're going to dangle it over your head. They will tell you things like, oh, wow, I see you being my wife. And that woman will start doing all the wifely duties. She'll be cooking, she'll be cleaning, she'll be barebacking, all in the hopes to really solidify
Sorry, I
this
shouldn't.
bond.
Sorry.
And then, you know, eventually she realizes that she got played, and that sets her back 5 years of progress, mental health, the lot. It's a avalanche of disaster. Now, for me, why I say that I'm more wicked than men is because not only have I caught on to men's game, I'm in on their game with them. So when they're doing the whole technique,
So if you think men were playing games, what happens? And this is a thought. What happens if you're confronted with a man that has true intentions and wants something and expects something out of you and not playing no games? Should be the question. Because as you know, and a lot of ladies notice, there are still some men out here, unfortunately, that are hopeless romantics. Give or take, that don't know about that. So if you gonna play that type of game, let's be fair, honest. Let's be blunt. You're selling yourself short, baby. That tells me that every interaction you deal with a man is always gonna think that he's gonna be one up on you, gonna do something to you. That is a scarcity mindset. That is some form of trauma type of ish. And that's something you need to handle and correct. You need to go through some spiritual journeys, chakras, sutras. You know, not that what they call that stupid junk, that manifest nonsense that don't help you in life. You need to go see some actual real spiritualists, and even go as far as spend money on an actual therapist. You need to sit on a couch somewhere, talk to somebody. Right now, let's keep going.
as you may know, as like love bombing.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Oh, you're amazing. I'm gonna buy you gifts. I'm like, I act like I don't know that they're love bombing me, and I pretend like it's working, but they're not getting what they want. So I talk around the idea of having sex, but I end up not having sex with them, because most times, by the time I'm actually ready to have sex with them, they do something that pisses me off to the point where I realize, wow, you almost had me. But I'm not gonna let you touch me now, because that's an absolute no.
So there's no. So it's just basically a tease,
Yeah, I love doing that to men.
like an extended tease.
Essentially, yeah. But the
But
reason
don't
why,
you? But also, okay. So as you're explaining this to me,
Mhm.
all I'm thinking is, do you not get tired, like mentally tired?
great question.
Because as you're explaining, I'm thinking I don't. And that's what I was saying earlier about just being like soft, because
Yeah.
like I'll see some of your videos, you'll be like, why would you message that guy, or why would you tell him that? And I'm like, because I want to.
I hear it.
Because I feel like he should know.
Mm.
And then, because, do you get what I mean?
I
And
get exactly what you mean. Period.
but
I
it's
hear
like,
it.
I'm here.
Like, why can't we just vibe? Why can't we just be
Yeah.
our authentic?
But do you
spontaneous
not
selves?
feel that? Yes.
Mm.
But don't you feel like if we all do this, we're just going to keep going in this cycle of no one is really being real with each other? We're not ever going to have the true.
I get your question. and
Do you understand? Like, it's just a
Absolutely.
constant game of everyone trying to outsmart each other.
Well, this is the part where clarity comes in, because when men are moving to me, right? When they're asking me things like, "Oh, what's your type?" My type is provider. I don't talk too much. When a man asks,
When
what
you
do
say
mean by
provide, okay, go on, yeah, let's
so
go.
obviously, because you're a woman and we're having a conversation in a podcast,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
important that I clarify what
Yeah,
provider means.
because I think also that's what happens with your stuff as well. It gets clipped,
Mhm.
and then someone will clip this part where you say, "I want a
And take it.
provider," and then all the men now are crying in the comments, "Can she even provide for herself?" Da, 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 all these things. Their normal go to, yeah. Who wants to provide? We'll go on then. Are you gonna? It's
Right.
just like, so when you say provider, what do you mean by that?
So what I mean by provider is all bills paid,
Oh,
all bills
right, okay.
paid, plus because for me it's about lifestyle. I date men for lifestyle. I don't date men for like companionship and feelings. Like that's part of it, but the priority for me is lifestyle.
Wait, no, Chidi, see, this is I.
By the time we finish this episode, my whole singlet will be torn from the people
Wait.
dragging.
Wait. So
Okay, so you date for lifestyle. So okay, that is your desire. All right. But do you qualify for that lifestyle? Let's have that conversation. Because she's in Europe right now. I mean, there's some men that's doing pretty decent well, and there's some men that's doing maybe subpar, or there's men doing worse. For this alleged provider, that means you're giving this provider something in return. And right now, let's be fair, honest, gentlemen. This is really what they call side chick vibes at best. That means you serve only a means to a really greater end. And if you do not fulfill these means, you will be discarded. Because every woman wants some man to provide something to them, whereas protection, finance, or some loving support, whatever you want to call it. But the term provider nowadays, if you women just talk about that's every person wants that. I'm sorry. Don't be fooled that they don't want that. Most women will like that. But what more than that? Because if that's the only bottom line, or that's the line that you're going to draw, then by all means, you're going to be competing with other women that wants that, and they probably will bring something more. And let's be honest, because a lot of women like this is in their 30s, unfortunately. Unfortunately, you only get so much as a glass ceiling, or the ceiling is only as high as you're going to go, but it really starts to come down as you get older. So if you in this game, and let's be honest, for people to know, a lot of women that do operate like this lady here, they think that this providing in this, whatever the way how she's moving is a forever thing. Like this is a career thing. Like this is gonna last forever. I remember one woman called in on KS and Kevin asked, "How long you want to do this?" She said she want to make a career of being a sugar baby. And you know how Kevin was. And matter of fact, I'll show you something better. This is how Kevin was when he heard that nonsense.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up.
That's what he heard. Because I laughed at her too, saying, "Sweetie, there's no career of being a sugar baby or a 304. There is a line. There is an end to the roads that." Well, most women don't think of the end road. They look at what's in front of them ahead and say, "I'm going to keep going forward." And, there are some older men that just need some to touch and rub or just give some money just to feel somewhat special. He will throw some money at that. But as time progresses, and I see this already coming, these old people are going to slowly die out, like anything else in life. And a lot of you women that's talking about this now, there's not going to be much man that's going to be so eager. And this applies to any man, any racial man, going to be sitting there just paying you just for a nice little night in the sack. All right, let's keep going. Fairies.
it's just lifestyle is first and foremost.
Lifestyle comes before dick. That's how I see it. Some women date for like sexual compatibility and intimacy.
Right.
Some women date for.
So
like,
do you have
I
to be
really wanna
attracted to
loved.
them?
I'm attracted. My attraction to a man develops based on how he treats me.
Right.
So of course, like at face value, I can find a man attractive, but if he's not giving me the treatment I want, I can compartmentalize that attraction and just see him as an attractive person that I'm not compatible with.
Okay, but what about on the reverse? Like if you wasn't attracted to him and he treats you nicely?
Oh, then I can grow to love him.
Okay.
Yeah, I can date. Listen, I can date a short guy. I can date a tall guy. I can date a guy who is not visually attractive to most people, but as long as he's treating me how I want to be treated, that's none of my concern. If anything, as a woman, I feel like I benefit more from the relationship when the guy is not as good looking as me, because I'm the star of the show in the relationship, and also there's more of a fear of him losing me.
But then sometimes you build them up and then the motherfuckers start because then they feel
Oh,
like, how
yeah.
did I bag Chidi? I must be able
That's
to bag
why you
bare
have
girls.
to. That's why you have to use positive reinforcement strategically. I pick them up based on how they treat me. So I say things like, "The way you take care of me is such a time."
And let's be honest, at least she was right on that. That the man should always don't look better than her. She's supposed to be the better looking one, the fairer sex. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Farious.
On for me. Or I'll say things like, that other day when you surprised me with that really lovely gift, I just want to say that I deeply appreciate how thoughtful you are and how much of a gentleman you are. You have to be really careful and specific with your wording, because if you're complimenting him on the things that you like, he's going to do more of it.
Okay, right.
So if
okay,
you're
yeah, I
saying,
get that. Yeah, fairs.
"I love the way you take care of me. It makes me feel like a woman, and it's not common that men like this exist." He's gonna feel really proud of the fact that he's able to do that
And
as a
wants to
man,
do more of it.
as he should.
Okay, so then you provider is first.
Provider,
The lifestyle.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so pay all bills then also.
So not only is he paying all bills, because for me it's like, this conversation would obviously lead to the question of like, so do you want to get married, etc. Not only is he paying all bills, like, this would be a man who has the potential to like buy me property. Like, I wouldn't want to marry a man who can't do that for me. In terms of dating though.
Okay, wait.
Now that's an interesting scenario. She said a man that she look for is that could buy property. Property and what? To give to you? And what in return you give this man? Now, mind you, I don't think she has children. I could be wrong, but I think she's up there in age. And this is where a lot of you men, you're going to have to be very cautious when you hear this type of verbiage and language to a woman that's a certain point in life. Like literally, in a point in life. And really, you got to really ask what these women really do for a living. Because personally, if I was thinking, if I do something, and this is just me, I can't speak for other men. If I don't know what you actually do to sustain yourself, the last thing I want to do is to really think of making and put a ring on you for a lifelong companion / mate. Because there are a lot of women now, gentlemen, that are selling their bodies more than ever. Some of them are selling their bodies, and this is the most they gonna ever make in life. They don't work no regular job. They have OnlyFans. They have Telegram, and that's the new popular thing, Telegram now, which I didn't know women do that, but that okay. They're going to these sites now, and behind closed doors, they are asking or promoting or selling themselves for chump chains on the internet. And what I mean by chump chains, the highest subscription you're gonna pay for it, you got to entertain these ladies on the internet, you're looking at $4.99 a month or whatever. There's weekly special. And I heard even rumor now, and this is just me, and I haven't really checked the certain social media sites, that I'm seeing that women are putting their Cash App in their freaking bio now. And when I see that now, I could tell right off the bat, say you give off broke bitch vibes. That's a broke chick. Like, look, that is a broke chick. Why do you have a Cash App in your goddamn bio? And I'm looking at you head to toe. I'm telling you right now, a lot of modern women right now, you can't ask for no quality man, and you got a Cash App on your goddamn profile. Hold on, I let Kevin do it better than I can, man.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up! God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
Yeah, you get the point. Oh, I see Tevin in the building. What's up, Tevin? Women like this only hang around when you are up in life. But the moment you have a midlife crisis, they're gone fast than a sinking ship. And it's worse, Kevin. It's worse. Just show signs that you're not giving them what they want. Like literally, to show some signs you're not giving what they want. They're already looking through their phones with the RER, and they already plan to be a throat goat for the next gentleman on weird sites, on weird social media sites, Facebook, IG, Telegram, Twitter. Oh, did I mention Twitter? Oh, yes. The one that Elon Musk runs? Yes. They'll be on them sites right there, hitting them dudes up that been hitting them up and said, "What you doing, big head?" And they'll go right there behind your back. I mean, the next man. Just keep that in mind. Oh, and please, guys, support the channel. You know, it's Cash App or Super Chat. And the cash is flowing down the banner here and all that stuff. So support the channel. And like always, I always gotta do this.
I told you.
Oh, sorry.
Where is my money?
My money. I want my money.
I told you. Where is my money? Benny. Bring me everyone.
I need my money. I need my money.
What do you mean everyone?
Let's continue.
I'm talking about if I want to marry a guy, I would marry for, the longevity of.
No, because there's a part of me that is like,
I get that it sounds unrealistic. I get it.
and also like, how do you just say this? Because I don't think I could say this out. Like, I would be.
Oh, I've heard men say crazier things to women. Oh, are you good? Yeah, you got a man. I want to sleep with you. Like, men don't feel scared to come up to a woman that they've only
Fairs.
known for all of
Fairs,
2 weeks and ask for pussy.
There's okay.
But we're the ones that are scared
But
to
the
say.
property for, okay, go on.
I'm referring to about properties. If a man wants to marry me, what would make it worth it for me to marry a man is properties in plural. In my
Right,
name.
okay.
That sounds unrealistic, right? But I think what we define as realistic versus unrealistic is based on our own individual outlooks for our lives and also the access we have.
Right.
So for me, I'm not the scale of celebrity that I see myself being in 10 years' time. So the access I'm going to have in 10 years' time is going to be different to the access to men I have now. So I already have a mindset where by the time I meet those men who are likely to facilitate the life that I would want to marry into, I already know how to mix and talk to them. And I already have my own.
Now, here's the weirdest thing about this. At her age now, you tell me if that is your end goal, that means you're going in this with little faith and real intentions. To ask for property and all that, what you ask for, you only get that when you're really fresh and young in the game. And in your 30s now, if a man is smart, which most men, I think they are smart in Britain, they're not going to be so down with that. Even an older man now will look at you and look at your head to toe and think in the back of his mind, why I'm dealing with someone that is now at the wall stage. If I don't want children, it should be optional. I go deal with somebody that's 5, 6, 7, or even 10 years younger than you. A lot of men, let's be honest, depending on the generation they're from and how they think is, are not going to be just giving the world to women that are already been out on the carousel for as long as you see late on the screen here. They're not doing that. They're not in business doing that. Even if we talk about other groups of men, they look at black women generally as, how can I say this? A vessel to use and abuse to a greater means. And I think Black British people are under 4% of the population. Another note to speak to a lot of gentlemen that don't know. You don't want to live in no country where you're that the smallest in the population. I don't know. I could live in any population that is only 4%. That don't make no sense. To me, it doesn't make sense. I'm not sure why you dudes would do that. I wouldn't advise you do that, personally. All right. Let's keep going. Let's see where I'm at. All right, here we go.
status. But in the meantime, the men that I'm dating now, they're not buying me properties, but you know, they've played a good role. So when things have gone wrong,
So if they're not buying property, what is your purpose being around with them? You're hoping to play your role that some are going to simp and eventually give in and say, all right, baby, here's this ring. I'm going to give you what you want. You're playing the fence. And that's where most men are going to be very successful. Keep playing the fence. See what you get. What outcomes you're looking for. Let's go.
I don't feel goofy because I left with more than I came with.
See, okay, I literally was having this conversation because we're the same. You're not Gen Z, are you?
No, I'm 29.
Right, okay. So you're just, okay, cool.
Millennial, definitely.
Millennial. But I was saying,
Oh, you're a millennial. Ain't that something, gentlemen? Wow. That means you are in your 30s. Roughly maybe in your mid 30s or you are at the wall stage, baby. And for people that don't know, where does millennial begin or end in the the scope of things? Millennial really starts at after 1978, roughly 1979 to roughly 1994. Not 1995, not 1996, not the stuff you hear dumb people say. No, it stops at 94, the midpoint of the 90s. Once 95 hit and down, you're Gen Z. End of story. You're Generation Z. End the story. 1995 to, and I could probably look up when does Generation Z end, and I'll do that right now as I'm talking to y'all. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. What? Where? Let's look. All right. Let me see. All right. I think I started. Now, you see, every time I look at the computer, it gives me different numbers. I have a book and it deals with more detail. So if it says here, and I could probably go to another AI, but let's keep playing as I look this out. Various.
I always have this conversation about Gen Z, and I feel like I would like Gen Z. They're just so. I say this to my friend the other day. As much as I have a lot of shit to say about Gen Z, there's something about them that I admire. That they've seen a lot of behavior that they don't like, right? And they're now saying, "I don't want this." I think it's a little bit how far they're going with it is a bit. I think it's quite extreme, but I get maybe they have to cast the net out
Generation
and
Z
figure out
commonly
how much. But at least they want some sort of change, I guess, to the treatment, like you were saying earlier, of they've seen their mums, their sisters, their aunts stay with men for love and leave with nothing. Kind of like what you were just saying just now. Well, at least if you take the piss out of me, I left with something than what I came with, and I get it. And I understand it, but a part of
Okay, I found it, and I'm looking at two different artificial intelligence. Cause and this is why it's good to have different tools. Cause you want to have the actual numbers so you don't get confused. And it seems to me Generation Z is split between 95 to 1997. It begins. I said personally, it starts at 95. Now, and they get a split between millennials, and this is my problem with the direction of who is who in a generation. There is a split off point. There is confusion. I do not like to be confused when someone is millennial and when someone is Gen Z. When you start putting that tells me you're playing games. That means any one person that's born in the 80s up to 2010 could fall between Generation Z or millennial. That is screwed up. I don't accept that. Don't accept that at all. And I'm probably gonna look at one more AI tool. And as I do that, I'm gonna keep running.
me feels like that's just so sad because I do feel. But then I always say this: that's what our grandparents did.
I think
Because I think we romanticized our grandparents' relationships a
yeah, I
lot.
mean,
We've
our grandmas couldn't leave.
they
weren't
literally
allowed to
couldn't.
have
That's
a
what I'm
bank
saying.
account.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were prisoners.
Like literally. So yeah,
But
yeah.
also, I think I really do understand what you mean when you say it sounds sad. You know, I get this response from people a lot where the common things I hear amongst people saying, "Oh, this sounds so sad," is what about love? Like, why can't we all just be our true selves? Why do we have to play all these games? I'll stop playing games when men stop playing games, you know? But I've learned to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
For me, it's like,
That's the
if you're a
truth, isn't
woman
it?
who
Yeah.
chooses to date men, because remember, like, it's actually not by force to date. We have desires to be around certain people, but it's actually not by force. So if you're choosing to date men, you have to acknowledge that you're opting into a game. So decide, do you want to win this game, or are you going to be that person that's like, I'm a nice person, I'm going to show all my cards. No one's going to come and congratulate you for losing the game because you want to be a nice person. Just sit to the side and let someone else who wants to play the real game. For me, it's like, I've clocked that, okay, in the first, 3 months of knowing a guy, he's going to be putting his best foot forward because that's the impression that he wants to give you. He really wants to earn your trust. After that, it's
Which
up
is
to God.
actually, I was having a conversation about this the other day. It's actually a form of manipulation.
Of course it is.
It's like such a and when you say this to men, they start panicking because they think now you're going to start saying, "Oh, it was against my will," and it's like, no, it wasn't against my will, but it was also manipulation. Like you presented yourself in a certain type of way in order to get into my panties, and now you've got into my panties and you've adjusted your behavior. Because if you showed me this behavior in the beginning, you wouldn't have got in my panties.
Most times it's because they don't have what you need. Like,
And
if
also, most times because they actually don't have game. I remember my friend said to me, he was a guy, he said to me, a real guy that actually has game, they shouldn't have to be telling you lies to get in your panties. They should just be
Exactly.
able to say to you, this is what I want. Can you give it to me? I'll be happy to engage in this. This is all I can offer you. Because if you're actually a real player and you get gal, you should be able to pass up on me or you because you know there's another great woman. Just because I can't have Chidi or can't have Zizi, let me go somewhere else. I shouldn't have to fill you with lies and false hopes to get into your pants.
I completely agree, but also even the men who have solid riz and who are confident in themselves, there's always something they're lying about. Like they're probably talking to like 2 other women, and that's why I always have my other 2 as well. If you're talking to women, I'm also talking to men. I might not declare, but I have my rotation of attention because I'm telling you, it will get to a stage where suddenly he's now talking to you less and less,
and you're wondering what you did wrong.
Bro, I have been there.
You're thinking,
It
what
happens
happened?
to the best of us.
Yeah.
Because you know what? You know when you can clock that it's happening, where it's like you can just sense it.
Listen.
And then that day you didn't sleep well. You
I
wake up at 8 a.m. You're angry.
And you're
It's
even wondering, where's the
you're
response?
even checking the phone.
Why
you
is
got
he
an
not
archive it
responding?
to try and tell yourself not to look. You're waiting for that little one to show up. I hate when a man has, because I'm like, you know what? God forbid I feel like this. What the hell? What the hell? And it only happens because you're not talking to someone else.
It's so true.
But then the thing is, sometimes there isn't someone else that you like at the time.
But that's because us as women, we
tunnel.
And that's one thing that I am quite good at not doing. I don't romanticize.
Good.
Like my friends, I'll go out with a guy one time. They'll be like, "Oh, so do you think you can marry?" And I'm like, "Based off what? Like, what have I based this off? What?"
I hope y'all understanding all that. A lot of talking going on. In my opinion, most women that think and operate in modernization, and this goes beyond feminism, they always want to be, I would say, the ones that is in control of everything, including the relationship dynamics. That's why they don't really function well in regular relationships with the opposite sex. And any sex, let's be honest. We all know the data that's going around women that are engaged in the same sex. It gets even more worse and violent. And the reason why is because both of them are in a power dynamic. Who's going to be in control first? That's why you see the violence more when it comes to women engaged in the same, sex and all that stuff. Oh, UK is down bad? I didn't know that. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Farious.
We base this off
marry you.
Like, yeah, but I feel
make sure you guys support the channel. Hit the super chat or cash app and subscribe to the channel. Farious.
like as women, we really romanticize the idea of a guy straight. I'm like, yeah, well, I feel like he'll be really good. Even to even to the point of him being your partner. It's like, how do you?
Even they use that word partner. You hear that word partner? That means they want this to be in a, homo relationship. And one other thing she did say, the lady with the hat, she said that even the dudes that seem like they don't got it like that they always plotting and do some things behind. See, right there, you could tell there's some mental illness and there's some trauma in that. If a man is not fully confident and he's the only one, or you're the only one that he's smashing skins with, it's not gonna boost his confidence overnight. Either he got it or he don't got it at all. Only way most men come out of their shell, they're going to have to mess around with a bunch of other women. If he's messing with you and you always have a notion, he always has the potential he's going, plot against you, something's wrong with you mentally. You're a sick chick. That's all I'm going to say. Fairies. Let's keep going.
How would I know that from 2 hours of a conversation with him
Like,
or whatever?
If an emergency was to happen, can this guy help me?
Like, literally,
Real
can he?
talk.
And most of them know.
If I need 10K right now, can you give me 10K?
Sorry.
Like, if HMRC comes to me and says, yo, we need 10K from you, can I come to you and say, yo?
Now, let's be honest. If you're asking for that large lump sum of money, it makes me think, baby, you're doing something. And you're doing something that I would not say is legal. Because here in the West, and I'm not sure how in regards the red flags when it comes to transactions or the shifting of currency, here in the United States, and right now it's kind of watered down now because people do digital transactions now. But still, if people still go by the same signed checks and all stuff, if you go beyond 10K or touch just roughly 10K, the feds can hit you up and going to ask what are you doing with this money? Where is this money going? And obviously, with digital transaction now, it's like under 1,000, which I'm hoping our new president, will roll back that stupid policy, because usually, if the Federal Reserve and banking system said if you go through this limit, you have to tell where the money is going. It should be around 10,000 all across the board. It should not be 10,000 one scenario and then under 1,000. That'll make no sense, in my opinion. And I hope people will really start reference that and let our president know about that. Because if you're going to start monitoring people's transactions, it should be a flat line all across the board. It has to be 10,000 or more. Straight up. All right. Let's keep going. Fairies.
Look at this letter. Can you help? I can't pay you back, but can you do me a favor? Can you do that? No. Okay, next.
Can't pay you back. You hear that? What? So you want free money? This is delusional. And let's be honest, I'm a man more and more subconscious, either if I have a lot of money or not. I'm not going to give you that amount of money. Any man that got like that and you just throw away money, you're a fool. You're a dummy. Most men that got money like that, I know for a fact, are not going to be in the business giving a chick that's, let's be honest, either your wife now, a whole lot of money, because you're going to be asked the question, why you needed so much money? And if you're not a man that's asked this question, if you have all that money, something wrong with you. Something is seriously wrong with you. Real talk. You should ask and question everything that comes out your pocket. Every dollar that comes out your pocket should know where it's going. You got to be very much a sniper. You got to be very much the IRS in your life. Gentlemen, I don't want to hear you giving random bitches money like that. I don't want to hear that. I'm considered as a sucker. You could be giving that chick that money, and she could be giving it to the next dude that she's fucking, for all we know. Or worse. And even go with the audacity to ask it and then hope that you don't ask for it back. Let that sink in. I'm gonna let y'all be judge that. All right, let's go. Fair use, fair use.
Next caller. I'm 30 in a couple months. I don't have the time I had when I was 24.
What was your first heartbreak like?
Ooh, my first heartbreak, like most people, it hurt, innit? Like it was really, really upsetting, but I approached it from a place of not having any knowledge of myself as a young woman. I was completely like anxious, attached, very that kind of girl who needs reassurance.
Okay, right.
Like when I look back on that girl I get the ick looking at her.
Right, okay.
Because it's all of the textbook definition of that clingy girl who, oh my God, like, why do you want to constantly be in your man's armpit? Like, get a hobby, find something to do, girl.
Right.
I built a lot of my self-esteem around how he saw me.
Right, okay.
And so when he obviously inevitably found another girl to talk to and eventually date, it really, really crushed me. I was like 19. It really crushed me.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting is people often say, like in my comment section or to me, something really bad must have happened to you because of the way you think. And it's like, I think that's an interesting comment because I don't think you have to go through something that bad to recognize that men are what they are.
This is true.
People expect for me to have this really traumatic story. I've heard more traumatic stories from people who actually follow me who have said things like, I got married to this guy and, you know, had 2 kids with him and he was selfish, wasn't helping. And then 3 years into the marriage, I found out he had a secret family. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I've never experienced that. I'm grateful to God that I've never been married. I'm grateful that I've never been pregnant for any man because it really only takes one man for you to have a very different life. And that can be for better or for worse.
No, it's true.
And for women like ourselves who are public figures and who are only going to be exponentially more and more successful, we have to be even more careful about the man we pick because the man we...
But what is successful? Successful is something that, if we gotta be honest about successful, you gotta have a very much a unique career. And I'm going to use the word career for the sake of this conversation. You have to be something that the people need or could use. And for those people that watch, does this woman give off anything that she provides, something that the world needs or use? I'm curious, gentlemen and ladies. Just by look at her aesthetic and head to toe, you think she provides anything the world could consume and need? Let that sink in. Just let that sink in. Because they talk about this career nonsense. Last time I checked, women that have careers are ones that are doctors, lawyers, and probably in some form of the engineer field, maybe. I could also say nurse, but those different branches nurse, you know. And a lot of them not even doing that. So I want to know what career you're talking about. Really. All right, let's get on. Fair is.
we pick can define the direction our lives will go in. And why I say this is because sometimes in my spare time, I'll watch one of those like Lifetime documentaries of like the women from the 70s and the 80s and the 60s who were big stars.
Right.
And the documentary usually starts out very optimistic and exciting. You're seeing all the show reel of their amazing career highlights. And then it gets to that stage where a man comes into the picture.
You're like,
and now it's the dark part of the documentary. She's introduced to drugs. The man is now talking her out of taking movie roles because he's jealous of her being around other men. She's now losing out on career opportunities. She's becoming poorer. She's becoming more addicted to drugs. Before you know it, spiraled, then suicide, or she dies really early or really young. And it's usually because a man has entered her life and ruined the picture. And it can happen to any of us. And that's why I'm just so hell-bent on making sure that I choose wisely for myself. Because even the men that I engage with now, and this is probably going to take the conversation in a very controversial direction, but the men I engage with now are men who are submissive. Like, in my spare time, I'm a dominatrix.
Yes, I want to get onto that.
And that part of that whole becoming a dominatrix thing is probably the one time where I'll say, yeah, actually, me becoming a dominatrix is a side effect of me living in a world, an environment, and having come off the other side of experiences that have made me think, I'd never want a man to make me feel unsafe again.
Right.
So
okay.
now when I engage with men, especially if it's like intimate or sexual in its nature, I'm in charge and I feel much safer, and I also find it a lot more enjoyable to have a man being of service to me rather than the default that we're all in, where we feel like we need to posture ourselves for men and hope that he's gonna pick us. It's like, no, he needs to hope I pick him. And not only does he need to hope I pick him, he's gonna go through a little audition process, and it's really arbitrary things that I've decided he's gonna do.
Right, so go on.
Like some men, I make them write essays on why I'm amazing.
Yeah, you could tell right there. I know what men you're dealing with, baby. You're dealing with people. You're dealing with men, and I'm sorry. Right there, we could tell, and we could say this could probably be fake and also, but I would probably assume that the men you're dealing with are the men that are getting the money very fast. It's not men of means that's out in the world, because they're gonna look at you and say, "Why do I want you in my life? You don't provide nothing at all." See, this has to be an even exchange. And right now, the vibes you're giving, you don't look like you giving off no even exchange. You look like you giving off one-sided thing. Personally, I would say there's more simps out there, but I'm thinking the dudes that really cater to this. It's hard for me to imagine that you're really non-black. Even a man that's older, no matter how you're going to entertain this. You man work yourself and did best you can in life, and especially if you make a good living. You're gonna downgrade yourself to a vessel like that. Just saying. I find it odd, but let's keep going. Fair use.
And I'll like look for spelling errors, or I'll make them repeatedly write lines, because the name I go by as a dominatrix is Goddess Gina, because Georgina's my middle name.
Right, okay.
So they'll write things like Goddess Gina is supreme, and they'll
Oh, so you're in the sex business. And then domination when they sit there dressed in leather with, I think, leather boots with whipping and chains and all stuff. And you said that it's a career. I tell you, gentlemen, you gotta be sick in your head to be under dominatrix or seeking dominatrix for a quick release. And let y'all know, those are the weirdos of that side of the fence. Men that, go out and get pegged and do all those weird stuff. I consider you as a weirdo. Sorry. And now let's keep going. Very serious.
they'll just write it several times, and if there's a spelling error, I'll be like, "There's a spelling error on that line."
So wait, do you watch them do it, or they have to
they
send
have
it
to
to
send
you?
it to me.
Oh,
Yeah, or like using them as a footrest.
I saw when you put the toes in their
Yeah,
mouth
putting
and
toes
stuff.
on their face and their mouth.
They like this.
Not only did they like it, they love it.
Really?
Yeah, they pay me.
So how did you get into this? How did you know?
How I got into this was, I used to see dominatrixes on Twitter, and I'd be like, "What is this? Like, what do you mean this guy is willingly walking on a leash?
Yeah,
behind
like,
you
yeah,
up to circus?" Like,
To be honest with you, yeah, dominatrix is roughly more of a Eurocentric thing. So obviously you're going to have non-black clients that indulge in that nonsense. Like, and those are the weirdos. Let's keep it real. They're very weird. Sorry to tell people that's weirdo stuff. But to sit there and her boosting her ego up, like really that you're that in control. I mean, I beg to differ. But anyway, let's keep going. Various. Yeah, that's some weirdo shit.
how is that a thing? What? Are you sure he's not a victim? Is he drugged? Is he?
Right.
I used to think, are these victims? Like, I used to think the things that a lot of people think. Where
Yeah.
It's the stereotype that all the men are mentally ill and the women are just witches that are taking over these vulnerable people.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh, not only are these guys really smart, intelligent, successful people, but they know what they like, and what they like is powerful black women. They like.
So do you not see it as a fetish?
It is a fetish.
You don't mind?
No, they don't like powerful black women. They like women that will sit there, strap them up, beat them, and peg them. That's not power. That's what I call Pokemon activity. And yes, I did a stream on Pokemon activity. You can find this on this channel. I go in detail of how to spot a Pokemon. And I never really emphasized the racial aspect of Pokemon, but for the sake of conversation, in her line of work, that man is a Pokemon. Yes, full doubt, he is very much a Pokemon. All right, let's keep going. Fair use.
What? So I think the question you're asking is, do they fetishize me?
Yeah.
What's fascinating about this question is that whether you're engaging in kink or not, men fetishize women, even within the black community.
Yeah, for
They
sure.
fetishize
Yeah,
our
yeah.
breasts. They fetishize that we're going to labor for them. There's always going to be a way a man fetishizes you. And of course, in kink, the fetish is a lot more obvious. There are men who have a fetish for feet, have a fetish for black women. What I like about the white men who have a fetish for black women is that their fetish is about them understanding that black women are superior to them. And they like feeling, whether it's feeling bullied or humiliated,
Oh, right.
or even if it's not bullying or humiliation, they like being under the control and dominion of a black woman.
So outside of the dominatrix, when you date, do you prefer to date white men?
It's not a preference. My preference is black men, but I always go where I feel the most honored and loved. So
Right.
I like to think of it as like a diverse workforce.
Now, regardless if you prefer black men, you're always going to go by the workforce because I'm not sure how it is in Britain, and I need to find somebody in UK. Matter of fact, I should hit up what's his name, Mr. Grandson. Matter of fact, let me find his name. One second, guys. Yeah. All right, let me keep going. Fair's. Kind of want y'all to hear me do that.
Where we have senior roles and more junior entry level positions. Not every man's going to do the same thing, innit? I actually don't eliminate all men just because they're not millionaires. First of all, I don't actually need to date a millionaire for a man to treat me well and give me what I prefer. If you have multiple, if multiple men are paying your rent and they all think they're the only one paying your rent, the maths is mathing, right? But for me, it's like
a part of me is I'm actually a part of me is like sitting here in like this. I'm just like, wow.
I can't wait to take you to one of these events I go to. Your whole, because it happened to me. I went to, all it took was me going to one event and I was.
So you're right. She don't need what they consider millionaire. Really, she don't really qualify millionaire. Let's keep real. But she could leech off other men that will sit to pay her bills for nothing. And even to go as far as she might give him some intercourse, and not just regular intercourse, because let's be honest, most people in the UK, especially if you're Black British, like she is, and she's in that field, she's into real diabolical weirdo stuff. Let's be honest. If you're dominatrix, you might be dominating a man, but also a man is going to be doing some things to you, roughly, if that's how it goes. But you're going to indulge in fetishes that is of the Eurocentric nature, if I like to say so myself. So you're going to be doing some perverted things. Big pervert, in lack of a better word. So, you know, she's very much a big pervert if you're in that field. Let's keep real. But yeah, somebody is paying her bills, and in exchange, they probably get something out of it, hopefully, which I doubt it from her verbiage. But let's keep going. Fairies.
Like, wait.
Because I often toy like, so men really like my feet, and I'm like, oh, maybe
I'm sure
one
you've got
day.
beautiful feet because you've got lovely hands.
Thank you. Maybe one day I'll do. I was thinking OnlyFans, maybe for my feet.
You know what? Yeah, you don't even need.
But then
OnlyFans.
I've got this thing because that's another thing, because that's a
transactional.
good, nice segue, because my thing is more to do with the whole idea of sex work, right? And I know you've spoken about it. Yeah, you've spoken about it and you advocate for that and you're very passionate about that. And I feel like there's definitely a stigma that sex work hangs around it. So my thing, and a lot of women think, oh, only because it's my feet. And it's like, no, that's still sex work, because some guys getting off to your feet, therefore equals sex work. Okay, so talk to me, because I feel that we See, I have this idea, and I think this is where we used to clash a lot online, was the idea about women and their bodies and autonomy and how we're seen. And my thing was, you know, why would we want to like engage in certain things where where we're making ourselves sexualized? Men can look at us and fetishize us if that's not how we want to be seen. And then obviously yourself and a lot of other women would come and say no, because it's our choice. This is what we decide to do. But I still see sex work as something where it's like, do we have to?
The key question is, do we have to? And the answer is no, we don't have to. And where I think someone is engaging in sex work because they have to is either out of survival, because that's genuinely their job and it's the only form of income they have, or, which this isn't sex work, but if they're being trafficked.
Right.
The issue here is that a lot of times people conflate sex trafficking with sex work. They're not the same. So, for example, Findom is a form of sex work, and that is financial domination.
Right.
So that means doing things like taking over a man's finances and giving him an allowance from his own money. And it's a written agreement you have with him. It involves you spending his money. It involves that you, when you receive his money, you're not giving him any sexual benefit. He's not getting to see you naked. He's not getting to touch you. He gets the sexual, erotic energy of giving you money.
That's a simp. That's a weirdo. That's a man that has lack of self-confidence, self-esteem. He's not at a point in life, mentally and spiritually, to really conduct himself like an actual full adult, a male adult. If he just giving money to random women to get an erotic fantasy explosion in his psychology, you're maldeveloped. You're underdeveloped psychologically, and you need actual serious counseling. The one thing Kevin Samuelson's been telling a lot of people when he was still alive, he told us mostly with men and told us to you ladies that you will need some form of mental healing. You will need some actual mental how can I say it? Like, you know, we get checkup for the doctor. You need a clean bill of mental health. I think more people, black people, will need to invest as much money. If they don't invest going to the hospital checkup, they should invest as much money or resource, if they got it, to these mental institutions. Like, literally, you do need it. All right, I'll leave it there. All right, let's keep going. Phrase.
Now, whilst for some people that might be seen as like really muddy territory, I think what's important to clarify in this is that oftentimes we do have this question, which is a valid question of like, why should we sexualize ourselves? Now, the issue is that whether we sexualize ourselves or not, men are sexualizing us. Some women choose to monetize the sexualization, some women don't. But regardless, men are going to sexualize you. And so for me, my choice to momentarily sexualize myself is in a way where how I almost brand and present my form of sexualizing myself is, if you're lucky to have the opportunity to serve me, you'd serve me on my terms. So if you don't get selected to serve me, you're only allowed to fantasize from far. Now, the thing is, right, I know that being a public figure, there are going to be men who will see me and have sexual fantasies about me. And I can't do anything about that. But what I know that I can do about men who want to sleep with me is making sure that I benefit from and optimize that. Because to me, it makes it all the more worthwhile. So how I navigate being a dominatrix now is oftentimes I might maybe post a photo of myself like on my dominatrix Twitter, and I will get a message from someone who wants to talk to me, but there's a fee. They have to pay £50 to introduce themselves to me.
Meanwhile, I can't even get a fucking text back.
Listen, you don't need a
I
text
should-
back. There are guys who don't give me a text back because they've
But at
thought
least
that
you
they
got the
can't
£50.
afford.
She's
This
got
is
the
why-
£50.
Right. So
You're
you know
like,
what's interesting? Some of these guys give £50, they still ghost. But at least I got £50.
this is so wild to me. Okay, go on.
But you see, only reason why that happened is because of the caliber of the man. That's the cowbird. If I could look at a woman head to toe and I could tell that you're in the transaction phase, if I give you this money, if I want intent, by all means, you must come to this household. Get on your goddamn knees and suck this. You get me? You need to do that. And don't think it's more money. And let's be honest, gentlemen. If you're going to engage in transactional activities, it needs to be under $50. And women going beyond that, listen, you don't want that sex. Leave that alone. If you're going to be paying, which I don't emphasize and always emphasize, you do pay for box. Don't do that. She should give it to you on her own merit. If you had to go out there and pull out your pocket, you lost. Trust me on that. All right. Let's keep going. Very serious.
Because
So this was a recent scenario actually. This particular guy, he sent me £50 and he also bought me some Penhaligon's perfume at the same time, because the website that I use is basically a website where people can gift you money and gift you items that you've put on your wish list, and it will be sent to your house without them having your address.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So I have a £50 introduction fee, meaning that if you want me to allow you to introduce yourself, you pay me £50. That doesn't guarantee that I'm going to go on a date with you. It doesn't guarantee I'm going to continue the conversation after you've introduced yourself. It just gives you the opportunity to impress me. And usually the men who go further beyond just the £50 introduction, they normally get more of my attention, because I'm like, okay, this person seems interesting. I'm open to seeing what they're about, and if he's likely to be someone that I will allow to serve me. So usually the gifts that I put on my wish list are things that I actually need. So like, external hard drive. I might put like $2,000 on there for a trip to Nigeria. Most times people might look at it and scroll past, but there's days where I go, there's weeks where I go and I haven't spoken to any guy.
Right.
And then out of nowhere, someone will just purchase something on the wish list. So it's not like this, I don't want to glamorize it as
It's
this
not like
thing
this
where it's like,
influx of like, right.
because I know dominatrixes who are on that level where
Okay, right.
they're established, like they're pulling in money, like they're getting a lot of money. I'm not in that place, only because I don't market and position myself in that way. I haven't had the opportunity yet to really dive into it properly. But the little that I do, it benefits me, and it's completely changed my perspective on men. Because now it's like, even when I meet men in the vanilla world,
Right.
I don't expect the men that I date to be submissive, but I do expect them to be providers. So like from the first initial introduction of them talking to me, you have all of maybe like 2-3 minutes to talk to me before you offer me a drink. If you're not offering me a drink,
Then you walk away.
I'm like, well, it was lovely talking to you. Hope you enjoy the rest of your night, type of thing. I'm going. Because I'm not talking to a man for, like, I'm not saying the drink is like, oh, he's bought me a drink, therefore I'm going to kiss him. It's like,
Right.
you need to honor the time that I'm giving you here.
So my man, I'm going to tell you a quick story. So my man, he must have bought
You
you
got
a
a man?
drink. No, the man,
Oh.
our mutual.
Oh, yeah.
He must have bought you a drink because you was talking for a little bit. So he must have bought
Oh,
you.
yeah. All the guys who saw me talking to bought me a drink.
Okay, so this is the funny thing, right? So I went to an event. Maybe was it last year?
4 months ago. No, this was in summer,
this year?
early summer.
Yeah.
this
Oh
year.
my god, the year. Oh my god, we're
I
coming
know,
to the end of the year, right?
right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we was at an event, and I got there a little bit late. It was coming towards the end, and there was a guy.
Like I said, when it starts out with a transaction, and she said it does give you the opportunity to talk to her, but you throw $50, that tells you you're giving somebody money and nothing in exchange. And this is a Black British woman, mind you. Now, why would you, as a man of any financial stature, will throw $50 on a random chick? And there's nothing out of that return. Now, she said the more you throw, she might get your attention, you spend some money. But I'm thinking, saying, with your money and you're looking for attention, or let's be honest, you look for sex, all right? Your money could have been put to better use, dude. A lot of women, the reason why they act and move the way they do is they don't respect men, is because this behavior to a few women that engage in this. In their mind, they feel that you're desperate. Last thing you want to do, be out here, is desperate. A lot of women can smell desperation of a lot of men of any racial background. And once they do, they feel they got you by your cojones. And last thing you want to do is have any person got you by your cojones. Learn well, gentlemen. Fair use, fair use.
There that I used to talk to, right? And then he was talking to Chidi, right? This guy is, when I tell you this guy put me through hell, he was just not the one, crying all the sorts. Yeah, so I saw him talking to Chidi, and at the time we still hadn't, like, we had broken the ice, obviously. We were talking, we said hello to each other, but I think that moment is actually what kind of made us be like, oh, you're like, oh, cool,
cool,
like,
yeah.
you're actually cool. So she was talking to him and I was just like,
Zuzi came out of nowhere.
I came out of nowhere, and I literally came out of nowhere. I said, what
She was
did I
like,
say?
this is not the guy for you. Here,
I
go what
said,
you're looking for.
I said, this is not the guy for you. You're not looking for
And
him.
everyone heard it.
And I was like, because
the whole room erupted. The people were running in multiple directions laughing. I said, Jesus, I'm not even the one that caught this out, and I'm feeling embarrassed for him. He just stood there and was embarrassed. I mean, I was barely laughing. Because part of me, I enjoy when men are humiliated a bit. So I was like, really like, adding more to the laugh. And I was like, nah. From that day, I rated you because I was like, you ruined his life.
No, because I said, I can't see you go for it. Because in fact, I should have let you. I should have even let you. Because you would have given him the treatment that he needed.
No, because of what you said, he gave me money.
Okay, but you still would have put him through the ringer a little bit more. I
He
should let
probably
him go
wouldn't-
through the ringer with you.
He probably would not have given me that, what was it, £140 or something. He probably wouldn't have given me that money if you hadn't embarrassed him, because what you said implied that he can't afford.
Oh, right.
And so how he gave me that money was because...
Wait, so he gave it to you that night, isn't it?
Yeah, because he was waiting for me with my Uber. And he was like, oh, I'll get you before you. And then he just put a bunch of cash in my hand. I only needed like £40. He gave me like 140 because he was overcompensating.
Right, for the embarrassment.
And I took the money. I was like, oh, okay, that's nice.
At least
He still ghosted me anyway, but you know, again, I got something out of that.
At least
I went to go and buy skincare the following day.
What did I get? Endless promises. No promises.
I'm telling you.
Promises. No. What is it? What they say? Empty promises.
Right,
Just
because
endless empty promises.
A man, you can date a man and he'll be stingy, and then for the next girl, he suddenly is generous, and I hate that for me because
I hate that for me.
Well, men are gonna be generous, and I mean, they're gonna be generous, depending on what they want in return. The man's gonna sit there, give you no money, and don't expect nothing out of return. See, the reason why you see stingy men today, ladies, is because most of you are not worth the juice to squeeze, or the juice worth the juice to squeeze. I think that's the same, but really, you're not really worth much nothing at all. To be generous, it expect an outcome. And most Western women today, including British women, you are not worth the squeeze for a man to be actually generous. Hell, if a man gives you some little money, you consider it charity, but as far as go. But men, if they're on a certain path, mentally, spiritually, and really on a real direction, where they go in life, and really a direction how they want the outcomes to be, they're not gonna be out there just throwing money to this random chicks and not get nothing in return. I mean, in my opinion, this is how I see why men are stingy today. Because really, truly, men look at the outcomes they're receiving, they're getting, and they're thinking, why I'm investing time, energy, and from money on a person that just downright don't respect and like me. And they can feel it, they can see it. That's why a lot of men you see today are not generous. I hope that answers anybody's question and destroys the myth about why men are not generous. That's why they're not generous today. All right.
I've been there. That's what made me become. I'm like,
Okay, but
wait.
this is what I'm saying. So again, another little story. So just now, my friend he was there. So I was like, no, don't you remember her from the situation? He's like, oh, and I said, yeah. She said my man ran her some money as well. He said, I'm not gonna lie. They give me my money energy.
Thank
I
you,
said,
Jesus.
so
That's
what
the
about
impression I want you
me?
to have of me.
He said, nah, Z, you give I got this.
God forbid.
God,
Yes.
see, this is what I
In the
don't.
name of Jesus. I fire. No.
I rebuke it.
I rebuke it.
No, seriously, that is so annoying for me. I don't want to be that girl. Like, honestly, like, I don't want to give off like. No, actually, I do. But then
the
that's
thing
what I'm
is-
saying. I feel like I have to commit fully to it.
Keyword. I'm glad you said that, because that's the part where a lot of the girl them just fall off. It's the committing part, because the committing, I think, in the earlier stage is the hardest bit, because if you're someone who gets by on getting attention from men, and if you really enjoy that fluttery feeling of a guy liking you, oftentimes the moment you start to make your standards clear, he'll lose interest if he can't afford.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And you can't let that be something that makes you feel defeated or like, oh, fine, I'll compromise and so I can have this attention. I think as well, you need to be prepared to be disliked. Like, there'll be men who won't like you because you have standards that they can't afford to meet, but it's always worth, like, I would rather lose the favor of men who can't do anything for me and gain the favor of those who can actually do something for my life than to be accessible to men who are doing nothing for me. And in me being accessible to those men, the men who can actually do something for me, they see me as, oh, she doesn't like me anyway. She likes the guys who...
Cool.
Right. And I think as well, what you're saying about, like, you want to give the energy of, like, yeah, take care of me, run me my money. There's a level of, it's not arrogance, but you need to genuinely believe you're better than men because you are.
See, okay, so this is where, again, when it comes to...
Well, you're not really better than men. You're not really better than men. Because if that's the case, you know, you'll be providing the necessities for your own life and even more, and some that society needs. You're not better than men. I'm sorry, sweet, you're not. You could think you're not better than men, that you're better than men, but overall, in the scheme of things, in regards to hierarchy of where people are, you're not really better than men. And I know that hurts a lot of ladies to hear that, but you're not. You consume. We do not really produce the necessity that people need. And we got to go beyond making babies. Like, something that the world really, really needs. Personally. But all right, let's keep going. Very serious.
The dating thing. Because you see yourself as the prize, right?
Yes.
See, I feel like we're both the prize.
No, you're not. A man is not your mate.
No, but we both got things.
Yeah, he's got things.
He's got things that I like, and when he brings it to the table, whatever this table is, this hypothetical table, right? You know what I mean, or the shelf, whatever the fuck he brings over here.
Yeah,
like is just as valuable as what I'm gonna bring.
In the eyes of God, we are all valuable, but in the eyes of human, like, a man cannot recreate the essence of a woman, like, without us. Like, we are a component that men actually need. Like, men need women. We don't actually need men. We obviously value recreating.
Well, if you're saying you don't need men, but how you're dealing with the world as is, and the man made it way comfortable that you don't need men. See, you got to understand, gentlemen. The reason why I'm thinking operate the way it is because you're still giving these ladies something. If men pull back, how far are you ladies going to keep talking about you don't need men? Like, look, if more than half or more, a good percent of the population men really pull back, do you really want to put that to the acid test? The acid test? Really? But you see, they're not thinking correctly. They're making statements, stupid, erroneous statements out there, but it don't really amount to horse crap. But let's hear more of this babble. Why she said they don't need men.
With them, we value having sex with them, but
don't you feel like as humans we need humans? Like, we need companionship. So if you're like heterosexual, then you do need the man.
I think we need community more than we need men, because when we really deep what men are doing in community, what role are they playing?
Yeah, really? But see, this is the thing. I always see this as well, like when people say, no, community over what, and I get it, but I feel like we need both. And I feel like we're getting to a place in the world where it's either or. And I think community companionship is just as important as you have, because I get community, but my sisters can't make me feel.
They can't make you nut, bro. I hear it.
Well, they can, because I do like ladies. So there you go. Yeah, so they can. They actually can.
In theory, they can.
They can.
So this is why I'm like, so this is what's interesting, right? Because this is part of what has also allowed me to be like, you know what? Men are just here for funsies.
Right. Because
I find women attractive as well. I don't date women at the moment, but I find women attractive. So I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything.
See, I enjoy masculine energy.
Same.
See, I like that. So when And I always feel then when I date women or get involved with women, I always end up being the masculine energy.
I feel like I would be the masculine energy. If
and
I was
I'm
dating
like, I
women.
don't necessarily want to sit in that for a long while.
No,
Like,
that's why you
know,
need to really like start to really pay attention to the energy you embody, because I resonate with that. Like, if I'm fancying a woman, I see myself doing things for her. But then if I'm
right, see,
fancying a
yeah.
guy, I see him doing things for me.
Right, okay.
I've trained my, because look, the pick me is just like, it's like a thing where
I'm like
it
a
can-
noted pick me. I'm like a notorious. I'm like the goat of pick me's, apparently.
Stop speaking this away online.
That's what they call me on Twitter. They'd be like, oh, look at her, queen of pick me. That's what they used to call me back in the day. I'm sure you call me pick me a couple
But
times.
the thing is, back then, I would have called you pick me because the things you were saying back then. But
Do you
now
not
I don't
think-
see you saying that anymore, though.
What type of things did I?
So, like I said before, and I'll say this again, that mindset, what is important and what is needed of a man, right? It's giving off licky licky vibes. We call it licky licky girl or woman. And I'm gonna give an actual name for this. I'm gonna devote a whole section of this. And the ones you need to stay away from, ladies, and do spot off if you could spot them. That these are the behaviors of a woman that is engaged in licky licky acts, or called licky licky woman or licky licky girl. One of them is the notion that men are not necessary and they don't need men, and feel they could do better or all bad without men. That is the vibration and the vibes of a woman that solely will indulge with other women, regardless psychologically, or even they have the inclination of not engaging, but that's what they're saying, and that's what they're putting out there throughout the so-called ethers. Men establish and create and facilitate society for not only for his consumption but for yours. If men decide to not keep the production and keep recreating society all over for women to have some form of comfort or indulgence, you ladies will go in a fizzit. You will soon act in a very egregious manner. You will start to, and I mean this literally, to go insane. And hell, you might even go as far as fight each other. Like literally. That is a feminist thinking and thought, because you don't appreciate what you have already in front of you that a man create, unfortunately. So really, truly, anytime you hear women talk about this, say that why men are necessary and all stuff, and then start questioning it, you always got keep in back your head. That is a licky licky girl, 101 or 102, or you want to call it. That's one sign of a licky licky girl. She's very self-indulgent and thinks solely herself and thinks that men are not necessary. She is operating off the feminist mindset. All right, let's keep going.
Say back then.
I mean,
that
you used
thought,
to actually call yourself a pick me.
well,
remember
I
you
used to
said
call, yeah,
that.
because I used to just play into it. Because people used to say,
Oh,
I don't
I
actually,
didn't know
I
you
don't
was playing,
actually,
girl.
no, I don't actually see myself as pick me. I just
I
feel,
don't see you as pick me
I feel like I'm
either.
just quite balanced.
And
As
that's
in,
okay.
I understand. I try to understand where men might be coming from.
Mm.
Whereas I feel like you're just like, no, we don't need
The
to understand where they're
Yeah,
coming
the
from.
reason why I don't be understanding no more is because being an understanding babe, it costs you a lot in the long run. And also, you're never going to see a man be like, oh, she's ugly, but it's fine. I'll just wait for her to get pretty. You know, I see her potential. They'll just move on to the person they find attractive. Nobody chastises men for picking the prettiest girl in the room to them. Like, wherever they consider the prettiest girl in the room, they're going to go for. But if I say I want the richest and most provider and most generous man in the room, come and see them tearing my wig. Because now it's like, well, why can't you go for the brick one? Why can't you build?
Well, let's be honest. You're in the right to ask what you want, just like a man wants one. And let's be honest. Let's be clear here. Let's be clear here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be clear. Men will want the most attractive woman they can have possible. If they can't get that, they will have to sell a woman that is either average enough, and even go as far as maybe below average, but make sure her body is right. There has to be trade-offs when it comes to men. Not every man always will get what he asks for. Let's keep real. We want this. We will try to pursue this. But 9/10 of the time, if we don't get it, we move on to something that is workable. And that's something a lot of ladies don't understand. They don't understand this at all. Like literally, they do not understand this at all. So if you ask if you want a rich man or stuff, yeah, you're gonna find some dudes have a problem with if they match that. And let's be honest, gentlemen, if you have it like that or you're good, you don't really focus and waste time with dumb chicks like that ask what they want, because can they get it and how they want to fight and compete to get that. You should be asking yourselves that. If they're not want to do that, then obviously she could ask what she wants, but then she going to have to do what's necessary. And 9 to 10 she's going to get what she wants. And most women, if they're smart, you know, if you're trying to pursue it and it work, you're going to have to settle with some dude that's doing what he should be doing. It's that simple. It's not something to hang your hat on, gentlemen. So I don't really get caught when a woman asks she want that. I say, okay, that means you're willing to compete hopefully with the small pool man to get that if you qualify. And most women that think like this, I can see up here, and that's around in her 30s, you don't want to get what you can get and not get much. All right, let's keep going. Fairies.
I don't want to build. Like, I actually don't want to. I don't want to build. I enjoy sitting down and having things done for me. There's a man who can do that. If it's not
Well,
you,
do you know what? And that's the thing that I've learned. Do you know what it is? As like we were saying earlier, as we get older, I've learned that although most of the things you say when it comes to the dating thing, for me, maybe one day I might have, I might think, but what I'm saying is, I've learned that doesn't mean I need to be warring with you. That means that's Chidi. That's how Chidi wants to live. And like you said, there actually will be somebody that will do what Chidi wants to be done.
Absolutely.
So I might not agree with it, but that doesn't mean that now it's like anti. And that's as I've got older, I think I've learned that. But can I ask a question? Morally, have you ever felt like your compass, you know, like where you feel like, has my moral compass changed? And I think that's what it is with me when it comes to maybe the idea around sex work. It's like, morally, where do I sit with that? But then I also have the conversation of who tells us where our morals come from. Do you get what I mean? I think a lot of morals are built on religion, culture as well, like what our parents have told us and whatnot. So for you, how does that feel? And also, like, what do your parents care, or what has that been like?
Good question. I think when it comes to morals, we don't ask men, like, morally, how do you feel about watching porn? How do you feel about paying for sex work? Like, because sex work exists because there's a market for it, right? The people who created the market is men. No one comes up to men and be like, morally, like, don't you think it's a bit strange that you're like paying a woman to have sex with her? Morally, don't you think it's strange that you like flew a woman out and like treated her well for 3 days, based on an arrangement? Like, morally, don't you think that's weird that like you bought a picture of a woman's tits for £500? Morally. Like, I feel like morals are something that are imposed on women to keep us in line, but I don't see men being held to a moral standard.
But then you don't feel that men and women are equal, right? So then there's going to be different treatment. Do you not just feel like that's just the world that we live in, that there's going to be certain things that we can get away with as women, and that it's not going to be frowned upon? You know, sexually, we're allowed to be more free, and probably that's why a lot of men, maybe they should be with men, but they can't, because they can't even don't have the freedom to fucking experiment. Do you get what I mean? Especially within the Black community, like we can go right. That's what I'm saying. Like, we can go into the toilets and have a little, or even like you can have a little kiss with a girl, and no one's gonna think
it's just a friendly kiss as friends.
Right? Do you get what I'm saying? So even that, we get to experiment more. They don't. So that whole idea of, you know.
Yeah, but when you talk about experiment, the vibes you're getting off is you're entertaining multiple dudes and you're on the carousel, like literally heavily. You're on that carousel for whatever reason. So yeah, you're experimenting and racking up unnecessary bodies. That's how most people view that. And it's not taboo conversation. This is real talk. All right, let's keep going. Oh, and one other thing I put. Y'all know what time it is, man. It's been a while, and no one has really contributed that. Y'all know what y'all need to do.
I want my money.
I told you.
Where is my money?
Betty, bring me everyone.
I need my money. I need my money.
What do you mean everyone?
Oh, damn. Okay. And make sure you like the stream. Yeah. So, like I said, you are on that carousel. You're kissing. Yes, brother. They're kissing many frogs and not getting anything out of it. And let's be honest, she is a sex worker, so she's not really getting anything out of it because it's a transactional thing. The ceiling of potential what she's gonna get is very limited. I'll leave it there. Fair use, fair use.
And get to do this, but we don't. Do you not find it a bit contradictory because we're not the same? Because in one breath it will say we're not the same, but then do you get what I mean?
I get what you're saying in the sense that, like, why do women have to be held to morals and men aren't? For me, it's like, because all of this is a mess, I make my own rules and I don't wait for anybody to assign me morality, because that's done nothing for me. For me, it's about, do I feel happy? Do I feel proud of myself? Do I feel resolved in my decision?
Okay, fair.
Because as a woman, there's always going to be something that you will do that will be considered immoral.
Yes.
And
Even
you
me
have
to be, and the thing is, sorry to interrupt, literally, I could be talking about giving head. When I used to talk about the basics of giving head online,
Those days.
people would be like, why are you talking? I'm like, I'm not even giving a demonstration. I just said I enjoy giving head. I haven't got a cucumber
nothing
out or
wrong with
anything
Bobby
like.
giving head,
You know what I
thank
mean?
you.
And I'll be getting ripped. Do you think your husband wants to hear you talk about this? And so I get it. There's so many different levels of, that's what I mean, of morals. Because what someone look at me and what I talk and be like disgusting, and
You're
then
not gonna see a
someone
man get told, do you think your future wife's gonna like hearing you talk about how much you like eating pussy on Twitter?
right, we're gonna be like green flag. If he was saying that, we'll be like yes. It's bury
And
you
also,
trying
to answer the second part of your question about how do my parents feel, I think, do you know what? Yeah, like, I'm grateful that I grew up having a very strong mom.
Okay.
And I saw my mom getting her way with men. She always knew how to strategically
like
flirt.
she was okay.
I remember
like,
being a child and going to like go and buy meat with her in the market. And I didn't know at the time that she's flirting to get a discount on the meat.
right,
But now that I've grown up and I've joined the dots, I'm like, oh, that's what she was doing. She was pretending that he's her boyfriend so she can get a discount on the chicken. Smart woman. And my mom used to always say to me, like, if I ever die and you're still a child while I die, make sure you don't marry poor. That is my dying wish I leave with you. She usually says to me, do
so
not
it's been
marry poor.
imprinted from young.
And I see why she said that. Because when I see women who have married poor, especially those who are part of my audience.
Now, you got to understand. And now we're going to the marriage aspect. And I hope they get to the point where she gets to the point. Hopefully. And I'm not sure when she'll get to that point about this thing about wife and prostitution. If you're not in the places where the men at, especially if you didn't attend no university, which really is more better parameter if you're trying to hopefully eventually live a little bit comfortable. And I'm not talking about you sit in your ass and don't do nothing, because this one right here, she's giving off vibes that if you were really in a serious relationship, you're more type that you're not really do nothing but sit on your butt and spend money. That's a liability. A serious liability. Uncle D has been talking about this a lot, gentlemen. Do not be around women that cannot contribute nothing to the growth of your life. Avoid liability chicks, gentlemen, at all costs. This woman did not prioritize her younger years and move with intention with the dudes that, let's say you come across to that really got some resource. Are you going to move in a way where you can hopefully snag him? No, you're not. Because you're thinking on a transactional basis that if I can get you, get any other dude. Yes, that's possible. But here's the problem. There's a time limit and there's a shelf life, the possibility of dudes you're going to come across. And if you're not really sealing a deal with the dudes that are really committed, you are doing yourself a disservice. And matter of fact, since I'm talking to y'all now, I noticed there was a video circling around right now on the internet of this one woman, and she was promoting being a trophy wife and all that stuff. If y'all want me to cover that, you're going to have to put some in the comment section. and I will put a poll. And the most I'm going to get response, I'll decide if I'm going to talk about this. All right, that's all I'm going to say. I got to keep going with this tape. I'm trying to get through an hour of this and see if she'll speak to it. If not, we're going to have to end up here, wrap it up here. All right, let's keep going. Fairies.
Who I speak with, and I hear all these kinds of stories. I'm like, this is what my mum meant by don't marry poor. Because when I see women who married rich, I'm not saying that anybody's situation is perfect, but I would always definitely choose a guy with money over a guy who hasn't got money, because there's more to benefit from. I'm not in the perspective anymore, because I used to be in that perspective when I was much younger, in my earlier 20s, of like, find a man who you can build with and have that everlasting.
That's the energy I'm still giving. Early 20 energy.
But then I've met and spoken to many women who are in their 40s and 50s, and they did the whole find a man you're going to build with, and they wish they didn't do that. Because this is what men do. Like, they will use you and build. They even be lying to women that they're moving to that they built it on their own. Whole time you're their business partner. And then the women that they now are able to get because of you building them, they're now able to move to. One day they just leave. And move on. And you hate to see it. And that woman is left there rocking back and forth in a padded room, like deep in her life. Like, this is not even a joke. There are women who are in mental health facilities
I know,
because of what a man has done to them.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
This is a serious matter, and I just wish more women would take themselves seriously. You know, I remember when I used to be on dating apps, and the most common thing I'd see on guys' profiles is, "I love woman who doesn't take herself too seriously." It's like, yeah, because you want to take advantage of me. You want to talk to me anyhow. That's why I like a woman who doesn't take herself seriously. I take myself very seriously. I take my life very seriously, and I don't have time to waste. If I'm talking to a guy and I've scanned the trouser and the shoe, and I can already see that, you know what, like, it's actually not giving, I'm not even going to bother telling him that I like providers. He can't provide. I don't even want to ruin his day.
No, but sometimes the ones that have the nice ones on, nice clothes on, are the ones that have nothing.
But this is the thing. I don't even go for the ones that are wearing the, Parmesan and Casablanca. It's like, it's all about the context of where you meet that person as well.
Like, so you like frequent all the you frequent the good members clubs.
You know what's interesting, right? I would say, yeah, members clubs, but also, I think it's also the actual environment you meet them. Like, I went to the south of France. I went to Cannes.
Oh yes, it did look. Oh yeah, you did look very fun.
And yeah, and I met a lot of men with money there, because the festival was a marketing and advertising and marketing festival,
yeah,
and there's a lot of money in advertising. So most of the men I was meeting there were white and rich. And what was interesting was I was out there to network, but I found the networking really hard because it felt robotic. Like, I got up to them and try and force this convo. So for the first 3 days I was out there, I was feeling really frustrated and defeated because I was trying to network.
Now, mind you guys, it's a lot of babble, but this is British babble. Well, I gotta go through this. I wish I could speed this up a little more, and I don't like speeding things up, but in some cases it would be nice to have. But anyway. Fairies.
Work with these men and nothing was given. Then I was like, you know what? I'm going to revert to what I know. Just put on tight dress, put the corset.
Oh no!
Oh, it worked.
Did it? No, but I'm saying, like, it's so annoying that it worked.
Yeah,
because it's like it's proving your point. It's like,
yes,
I tried to do it, but
no,
now I went.
What I did, so I was at one of these industry parties out in south of France, and I decided I'm going to play a little game with myself. I'm going to pick 5 men in the room whose shoes I genuinely like.
Yeah.
And obviously this is advertising industry, so it's majority white people. And it's not my comfort zone to really talk to white people, but I had to challenge myself. So I was like, all right, I'm going to pick 5 men whose shoes I genuinely like. And what I did was, okay, first guy, I see him standing next to another guy talking, and I noticed he's wearing Jordans, and I like the colorway. I went up to him, I was like, excuse me, I'm so sorry to interrupt this conversation. I just want to say I love your Jordans. Where did you get them from?
Oh, look at you.
Where did you get them from? And I'm doing shaking breast. I'm saying, where did you get Jordans from? Because he's...
Yo. Like Mr. Max said, bless this bitch right here. She running some nice, sudacious game on you dumb niggas. She running some serious... Listen, women got some game too, guys. Don't be fooled. They sit there, just charm you up, just line you up from head to toe, say, okay, let me see if I can reel this sucker in. Watch out. Watch for the signs, gentlemen. Just saying, keep your head up. Fair use.
He's going, and then he's like, oh, I got it in Barcelona. Swear that's, I knew you got it somewhere outside of London, because I'm from London. We don't have them kind of colorways in London. You must have great style. What do you do? Oh, I'm a CEO. Oh, you're a CEO. Oh, wow. I love that. What is your role involved you doing? And then they'll ask me, what do you do? Oh, I'm a Sunday Times #1 best-selling author. And then they were like, oh my God, really? Because they're not expecting that because they're seeing breast and blah,
Right.
and then
Right.
they're interested in talking. And then what they do is they're like, oh, we got LinkedIn. Yes, let's connect on LinkedIn. Then I send them a selfie as the DM on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So it's kind of flirting, but it's also genuinely like opening up room for a connection. And now a lot of those men, they're still keeping up with what I'm doing. They're still watching stories, you know. So at least when I go back to South of France,
You can.
I can at least I started somewhere. Some people might argue that, oh, as a woman, you shouldn't have to flirt with a man to be able to network. But I found if you really deeped how men are,
I agree.
they give women opportunities based on how attractive. I can't change that, so I'm gonna use it to my advantage.
Someone literally said that to my friend the other day. They was like, "You are not." They literally said to her, a guy who is like, he owns like a restaurant, whatever. He said, "I know girls that are not as attractive as you who use their looks. You're not using your looks enough to get what you need." And he goes, "And you're smart, and you're not even using your exterior." He said, "You should be using it more." And he, in a weird, he didn't mean it in a.
It doesn't sound like a dig. I get exactly what he's
not
saying.
even in a slimy way. He was even like trying to say to her,
Encourage.
like,
Use what
you
you
are
have.
losing out on opportunities because there's women out there that are using everything they've got that to get further, and they'll get further than you, because he was almost saying, like you're saying, men, that's what they.
I can verify that what he's saying, unfortunately, is true, because in my community of dominatrixes, what's fascinating and ironic about this lifestyle is looks, as in like being stereotypically or societally pretty. That means nothing. The doms that I know who are the highest earners and most successful are very, I don't want to be rude. I'm going to say that they're not very memorable to look at.
Right, okay.
Like, they're just normal.
Okay.
Yeah. And you see the men that move like that are the normal looking ones, depending on where they are mentally in life, they might be the easiest ones to sucker, to get them out to open their wallet. Personally, in my opinion. And me saying that is because I've seen it. Well, I've not seen, but I've heard stories of it, to be honest. And personally, I'm very disappointed. Overall, I think like you gentlemen, I know you don't listen to the dudes that spit game, but it's always good to really hype and understand your skills of how women are moving out here. Really. Because too many of you guys get suckered in by the outer look and don't understand the interior, the mindset of what they're trying to do or what they're trying to get out of you. And I think if more men study certain game, and I'm gonna say this because we're in the month of November right now. It's the month of November. In the next few days, I think, I remember a book that most men, if you never own in your library, which I own, some haven't really picked up and read all of it, but Al-Raj Curry explains this better in detail. And I think a lot of men need to start reading his works because he left a library of work from men that is a player, not pimp, but he is really good with the women and understands the psychology of women and knows how to get around these type of women. All right, I think I found. What's this? All right, I think I found it. Yep. So I think we're almost there to that. So I'm gonna keep playing it, and it's gonna get to the actual part now. Let's go. Fair use.
You'd walk past them in the street and there's nothing that stands out about them because it's all psychology. They understand a man's mind. There's doms that I know who are plus size, who have disabilities. They're pulling in money. And so it really has changed the way that I view what I used to think were the things that would make a man like me. I used to think, okay, like maybe if I'm slimmer, I've got bigger boobs, or, you know, XYZ, I'll be more attractive. No, men just like when you make them feel challenged and when you make them feel like they're not good enough, but in a way where you're not bringing them down necessarily, but making them feel like they need to really like earn that side of you because they like the game.
Right.
I know everyone's saying, I don't want to play games. That's fine. Men like playing games. Even the men who say they don't like playing games, they like playing games.
A little bit
they
of it.
love it.
I know.
So for me, it's like, I've learned to love the game because if you want to date men, you have to also recognize that you're opting into a game.
I saw you post something on your story the other day, and it was about the word prostitution getting thrown around. And me myself, I would say, from my knowledge, I would say when there's any sort of like monetary exchange for sex, whether that's bags, holidays, whatever, I would say that's a form of prostitution. You was basically saying no, you don't agree with that, or what was you saying? What's your stance on that?
So, first of all, the word prostitution, for those who may need clarity, is sex work.
Mhm.
But the issue I take with the word prostitution is oftentimes people use the word prostitution in a negatively tinged way,
Okay.
almost like to chastise a woman. I get called a prostitute for saying that I wouldn't date a man who can't take care of me, let alone
Right.
actually engaging in
Yeah, I get what you mean.
activities
Okay.
where I'm being paid.
Mhm.
But what's really interesting about this conversation I was having regarding prostitution was this came off the back of me saying that the thing people don't want to recognize is, and this is going to be very controversial to say, but marriage also is sex work, because a lot of women, what they're doing is, and this is controversial to say.
Now, mind you, this woman speaking on perspective of sex work from a horror perspective. For those that don't know, that has sold her box for a living, for not for the highest bidder, for any bidder, to really sit there and define what marriage is. Now, we all know and we all have intelligence that if you're not seeking to be a wife or be married, but are finding new terminologies and words to shame or really insult people that are married or that are wives, and telling that the relationship between you and your man is an exchange of currency or what they call sex, is considered insulting. And it's downright diabolical. But let's hear this nonsense more from her perspective.
I'm gonna
Because
hear this. Say this.
in your definition where you said earlier about prostitution, where you know, like, you sleep with a man, you get money, or you hang out with him, you get money. Why I say marriage is prostitution is because what happens is women engage in marriage from a place where, okay, he's gonna take care of you financially, and there's a home for you both to live in. And what you are doing is you're fulfilling a role. So you're going to either be some sort of like homemaker, homekeeper, you're raising and rearing the kids, and you are partnering with him and sleeping with him in the hopes that the trade-off will be that you get validation, love, and upkeep. And the man understands and believes that if he continues to fulfill that role for you, then the arrangement works, because marriage is an arrangement. Now, why I say it's prostitution is because whilst it's not necessarily on the surface you're fucking for a transactional exchange, there's something that you're fucking for.
But then there's the basis of a relationship. I guess the reason why prostitution is because it's just it's sexual. It's nothing but sex. So you get the sex, you go. Whereas a marriage, to even get to the marriage, there would have been a build of a relationship, friendship, gone through a few things, families involved. Maybe you might even have kids now. So I think that's why people would be the
People
difference.
wouldn't understand that, and why I'm fast.
But you got to understand, you're listening to this is on the mindset of the mind of a whore that will tell you that it is a form of prostitution, because all she thinks and all she does engage in the back of her mind and in action a transactional thing. When you operate in transactional, you don't see anything else but a straight line that the money is gonna come to me. Give me money, I will do this. You thinking that a man gives a ring in marriage, that's all is based on sex. At one time, decades ago, it was, and something else, but mostly you get married for something. Sex is always gonna be on the table. Matter of fact, if we look at back in history, if we want to be honest and real, a lot of you ladies will not get no man or really get any man to take you seriously unless you were not touched and you were still fresh. Because the average age at the time, up until I would say late 90s, roughly, around 90s roughly, and it starts to go down substantially. Normally, you ladies who got married at 18 years of age, and then 30 years before that, before the 90s, like say in the 60s or 50s, you would have got wed early in that, like 17. I heard rumors 15. The point is this: usually that was the trump card you had. That man would take you on seriously and be of a husband. You be a wife to him, and you make a life. Now, you think about it now. With the transactional nature of things now, that you don't see the value of that. So obviously, let's keep it real. You think everything you do, you should get paid in advance. And Remy in advance, you get it right there before you do anything. And really, truly, that's fine. But the problem is there's a shelf life to that. Matter of fact, if y'all guys are aware, April Jones, another chick that was once in relation with Omarion, I don't think they were married, to be honest with you. I don't think so. He was a baby mama. I'll double check. I don't think they were married. Let's keep real. She was a fling, a pass around. She's at 38 years old, and now she's not getting no man to fly her out no more. Ironically. And the reason why that is because you're old, bitch. You're old. And that's the consequence of living a transactional lifestyle. There's a shelf life to it. There's a cap. So don't be these type of women. Listen to these type of foolish women you see on the screen talking about it's a prostitution. I'm going to let her finish talking her thing, and then we're going to wrap this up.
By that is because what people really miss out on in that conversation and in their opposition to the idea of marriage being a form of sex work is once you stop being able to render that service to the man, he leaves you. So, for example, I've seen countless situations where the woman has gained weight after having children, and the man has decided he doesn't want to be with her anymore because either her libido has lowered, so she's no longer interested in having sex. She doesn't feel good about herself. She doesn't want to have sex. So that man moves on. Or the woman becomes disabled or becomes sick and needs long-term care from her husband. And he leaves because he can't be asked and he doesn't want to do that and he can't have sex with her anymore. So what I've observed is that once men stop seeing you as the person that can fulfill that transactional need that they want from you, their energy switches up very quickly.
Do you think that's the case majority of the times? So
Unfortunately, majority.
You think so?
I won't say every single
because
man,
do you not feel
majority.
like when you get
Now, I'm not sure how they do it in Britain. I'm not sure how they do it in London or Britain. If you say they do it the majority of the case, I need to have somebody talk me. What's the divorce rate in United Kingdom? I'm curious to know that, because if the divorce rate is high, I would surely believe, and I would be saying not believe, but I would know with clear conscience that you ladies are divorcing your men as high as the divorce rate is up here in America. Men are not Xing out these marriages because your woman gained weight or you got a mental or you got a serious terminal illness and they decide I'm just going to end the marriage and then find another woman and then sign papers. No, it don't work like that. See, men respect the agreement as much as possible. They will try to fulfill that agreement. It's you ladies that go renege on the agreement, on the contract. Let's keep it real. I mean, we're going to go there. We're going to go there. We're going to go there. Fuck that shit. We are going to go there. You ladies are reneging the contract. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, damn it. I did something wrong. You ladies are reneging the contract. And you're doing it in mass and wide numbers. So don't tell me that garbage. That a man, unfortunately, that's what happens. No, that happens with only certain men. Let's keep that in mind. And the men that do that, which mostly is non-black men, let's keep real, it takes a lot for them to sit there to trade you in. for another woman. Like literally trade you in for another woman. But let's keep going. Let's keep going because this is a good part. Fairies.
Because I can't speak because I'm not married, and I do feel like marriages
neither.
get a bit stale. I guess what I've heard they do, and like from research and that stuff. So I guess I get what you're saying, but then I can't remember what I was going to say now about what was he saying?
When I was saying that the men leave when they can't have their needs
No, I'm
met.
saying do you not feel that after a while that some men just stay anyway? Even if it's
I
because
think most men just stay because
Yeah.
it's easier to stay
Convenient.
than to leave.
Yeah, so at least they still stay. So there's
So
at least they're not going then.
The only times a man is going to leave a marriage is if he's already patterned the replacement. Men, if a man has not found your replacement, he's happy to just stay and just
Make it happen.
Actually, I would go further. If a man was going to replace you, he would have done so and eventually have the lineup ready. You know, the funny thing about these conversations, since now we're watching this, you got to know which man you're dealing with, ladies. And let's be clear. And this is the reason why when we hear about divorce rate, because either financial reasons or, let's be honest, the so-called cheating, which that's another question. A man is going to always have some options depending where he is in life. Now, if a man doesn't have no options and for some reason he has to end the marriage and divorce you, it takes a lot from to do so, especially if you have kids. Some men will move on, right? They will move on. But other men, let's be honest, they will stay because they're going to stay with the agreement, regardless if it's cheaper to keep her. A lot of these could think and move that they think they know what men's thinking and what they're doing. You don't know how men moves or operates, sweetie. Regardless, you having intercourse with men and you're having a lot of intercourse with all these dudes for financial gain and stuff. You don't really know the actual nature of what a man really is. See, we're very calculated. We think short and long term to every decision we make. Some of that decision goes our way in our what we decided, and some we just roll up and have a bad hand dealt to us in regards, playing card games or snake eyes in the choices we make. Either or, a man is very calculated. He really thinks and contemplates every decision he makes. Now, if a man that's very incompetent and has been raised and trained by a female, he's not gonna have these. He's not gonna think like that. He's gonna move by emotion, and yes, he probably will eventually might find a replacement. Matter of fact, when we get married, let's keep real, because he don't think it's investment putting you in a contract with him. It's better off just keep him around, and after a while, if it don't work well, he just walk off like it's nothing. So I'm not sure why these women think that these men are divorced, and the divorce rate says otherwise. All right, let's keep going. Fairies.
We'll make it work.
We've got lots of our names together on joint accounts. It's long to leave. Once he's found a replacement, suddenly he's ready to be the one that will even initiate the breakup. A man is rarely ever going to tell you, you know what, let's end this. They're happy to coast by and drag you along until you're ready to end it. And this is why I'm very radical in my work. A lot of people will not like my approach or they might not like my lifestyle, but genuinely, like, I'm having the best experiences with men that I've ever had.
Really?
As opposed to when I used to be because I used to be I started from pick me, and then I evolved into what I am now, where I've learned, okay, pick me don't work.
Well, you're not an actual pick me. You know why is ladies I hear talk about say you were once a pick me. What does that mean? Because you're trying to get picked last time I checked, right? Right? But are you really trying to get picked? Or are you looking for an outcome without doing any work? Because there are some out here that's out here doing the bare minimum or doing, let's say, far and beyond for men, let's be honest, that are not deserving. If he gives you good dick, okay. But what else? He looks good. Okay, but what else? You see, there's more to this. So I'm not really believing the notion of these men. I'm looking at the quality man you pick, and it's not to do that's that's on his square and doing what he should be doing. And man, if he goes far beyond, even better. You're picking dudes that you are unfortunately sexually attracted to. And not only that, you're a sex worker. Your outcomes are your outcomes. That's why you have this thinking you do. And trust me, the transaction is going to stop eventually if it hasn't stopped already. Because as men are at the point where they don't not going to deal with the crap, and that they're seeing that the feminism is spreading too much to the point that now it's become a problem, a plague in their existence. Men are going to just, going to pull back. They're just going to pull back. That's all. All right. Let's keep going.
It just doesn't work.
Okay.
So now I'm in a place where I date very selfishly, and there's men who will give me attention, and just from the onset, I'm not going to give the attention back. I can just tell from the environment we've met in, you're not the guy for me. And that's okay. Like, look, you're probably spending all your money on your drip, and I love that for you. You can't afford to do anything for me. Like, the things that I would require as a woman, you can't.
So then outside of the money, what else do you require?
That's a good question, because I'm not gonna lie, like,
if that's a good question, that means you weren't really planning out a lot of things how your life wants to turn out. And right there, that's another problem. One thing I would say this. You see, men today, the ones that entertain this type of lady, you get what you deserve. The dudes that are on their A game and they really have their heads on, they would not throw $1 at this chick, personally. She's not even worth 2 pennies. Especially a woman that's in the 30s now. You wasted your precious years. I remember Roger said this. It's always suspect when you find a woman that's been on the streets and sex working for a long period of time. If she's not even once been married before a certain age, she is considered a loser. I might have to agree with that now for a whole lot of women, Western women. And God forbid you had kids. If he was doing something and he divorced you, and you have not learned from that, that's a problem. All right, let's keep going. Fair use.
I like my space. You know
So,
what?
but
I'll
you
be
wouldn't
honest.
be with a guy that has money but is not kind to you.
No, because I like kindness is
Right,
given.
yeah.
Like,
Okay, no, because we just need to
I wouldn't even
clarify
be
that,
friends
because
with
some
someone who's not kind to me.
because the go-to people, the moment you say, oh, money, oh, so what, you treat like shit, and so we have
Yeah,
to, for
because
the
we
dummies,
always
we
see
have
things
to,
in binaries.
that's what I'm saying, yeah. So,
I mean,
but yeah.
no, like, you don't have to endure anything you don't like just because a guy's giving you money. There are men who have given me money and I've still cut them off because they got carried away. You know, it's about valuing yourself in a way where nothing is worth you enduring discomfort, not even money. And I speak from a position of having my own money, and that's why it's so important as a woman to have your own money, so that you can use his money to expand your own money. So instead of paying your own bill, he pay your bill and you use your money to build your business. You use your money to have your savings. You use your money to indulge in the hobbies and the therapy and the well-being activities.
So so that is a leech. So your money is not anything betterment of what you're trying to do for you and him. It's you're just keeping it just for another means. I don't know if you guys taking notes, but I expect this thinking for a person that is operating on a transactional basis. This is what you get. Can't feel sorry for you dudes that do this. All right.
You need to be a balanced human being rather than shucking and jiving to stay alive, and the man is there. What's he there for?
Okay, one of my last questions, because I always wonder when women like yourself speak like this. When you have a son, what are you going to teach him?
To be a provider.
That's it.
Hundreds.
So, like, if
I've got 2 younger brothers, right?
So if your brothers or if your son comes home and says, Mom, I met this woman, she did this, she says, I need this, you're going to be like, that's how it should be.
I'm going to be like, have you treated her like a queen? Have you made sure that you've read your books first? Make sure you focus on building success for yourself as a man before you even look at a girl.
So you think, okay, which is right. I think a lot of men are dating and they shouldn't be dating. I do think that a lot of men are dating and they should not.
Got nothing to bring to a woman's life. Why are you there? Go and use that time and that money you're using to buy her love bombing gifts to go and put into your business, to go and pay for a course. And if it's production or engineering, go out and do something.
It's so
Not chasing
true.
girl. Because my thing is, if a man is in a bad place and he's dating, that tells me that he's got misaligned priorities. So we're not compatible.
And he's the devil in disguise.
Yeah, he's gonna bring you that. A man will only bring you to where he's at in his life. If he's up here and he feels good about himself and things are going well for him, that's the dating experience you'll have. If he's down here and he's struggling and he's having a hard time and his whole life is itching him, that's what you're gonna.
And
be
he
dealing
will
with.
bring you down, and then he'll
bad vibes
and just start making you doubt in yourself.
Especially if you're a public figure. I see women do this thing where, like, because they're celebrity women or public figure women, they go for the safe option of choosing a man who is broke so that he can't leave. It's like, go.
That guy will break you down, boy.
Not my portion. I would rather be single.
Because you start even dating those guys, and then they start making you question yourself. You're like, wait a minute.
I've been there.
What is happening
like,
here?
I'm doing you a favor. Wait,
Now, I noticed this is the most played part of the stream. I don't know why. Because, see, my issue with a lot of modern Western women, especially black ones, they live too vicariously of the so-called celebrities. To me, that's getting off you watch too much goddamn TV. You know, one thing I would say is, gentlemen, you always got to pay attention to how your woman really interacts outside the outside world. What she really is doing. Is she really improving her mind? Because I have books. Sometimes I read, and I should read more, right? If I do come across, let's say, a woman that reads, I always got to see what the quality book you read, because I know for a fact most people, they read things that are not essential. You should have a library, and I'm going to go to the boring part right now. I'm going to say this. The library should have a vast resource of books of information, some fictional, some true. I prefer you have some that's historical, some, you know, mathematical books, and maybe some technology. It should be a vast library, in my opinion. But if you come across someone that doesn't even read at all, which I get the vibe, she doesn't read or have a library of books. And if she does, the books are very much useless. And I'm not saying if you got economic book, it's not used to, but I'm being honest with you, the quality of books you have, because your mind should be expanded to different things, to learn different things. And if, let's say you have a son, I'm not sure what you're going to be teaching your son. Your son should be moving and to be the best person possible. You should put your son in position. You could Harper say provide us. No, you should put yourself and put your son, if you have kids and have a boy, to give him a curiosity, to exude his natural talents and stuff. And those things you got to challenge his mind. And that means you got to give him puzzles, chess, and you're going to have to spend money, chick. Because listen, that means if you're going to have a son, that means you're going to be a single mom, because I don't see any man in your relationship, because you already swore off and you don't really have no usefulness for man from your verbiage and what you lay out on here. Your son's going to be the same dude you complain about. And if he does provide, what say he's going to provide to a black fucking woman? I'll wait. I'm wrapping this up. I'm gonna let the last minute of this play. And that's it.
Thanks, I get. It's a thankless job, babe.
Like, are you all right? You know the ones that you have to think to yourself, are you okay here?
Like, do you
know
realize that
do you understand what's going on?
Do we have an
Because
understanding?
This is wild, but yeah.
But you know what's crazy, right? Like, the same way, like, a broke guy will come at you sideways. Like, even a guy who's got money will come at you sideways. Everybody needs to know their place. Like, I'm not afraid to walk away from anything. Even if I meet a guy who's like, okay, I'm going to buy your house, buy you all this stuff. You can't control me.
Right.
I don't want to be in a situation where a man feels comfortable to talk outside of his neck to me. And I don't have to endure that because he has money. I don't have to endure that because he's famous. I don't have to endure anything. And even now, right, like, I'm single. I've not slept with a man since 2021.
Hey!
And the pussy has not fallen out of me. It's still there. I have a great time.
2021.
2021.
But like, you please yourself.
I definitely DJ.
Okay. I like that one.
Right. And I have a great time doing that. But for me, it's like in all of that time from 2021 to now 2024, I've still had like flirty moments with men. I've still collected men's money. I've still had a great time.
Oh my gosh.
But what happens a lot of the time is just when I'm about to be like, you know what, I might actually give this guy a chance to lick my pussy. He does something to piss me off. And I'm like, you
so
know
you're
what?
not even getting
Blocked.
head.
No, not even head.
Oh wow. So you are really
I'm very disciplined.
You are.
I really am.
You're not disciplined. If you're still playing with your pussy, you're not disciplined. You're still getting a release. Like I said before, listen to Chaos Reign, gentlemen and ladies. And you ladies gonna listen to this. I don't care if this was boring today. Screw that. If you not had intercourse for more than 5, 3, or even years, and you're still playing with your kitty cat, you're still releasing. Now, can I say playing with stuff is healthy or not? No. I think, to personally honest with you, it's not good. In my opinion. I don't care what the data said or what they try to presume and promote or teach young kids. Let me tell you something. Schools are teaching this now to kids to do that. Y'all know that, right? But the point is this. You don't like to be told what to do at all. So I'm thinking, what type of man do you really qualify? But like I said, these are women that these ladies, if you screw up and you down bad, you're listening to. Y'all ladies need to change the program in your thinking. Look at these women's outcomes in life. Are you really living a quality life? If a man was not giving you the money, what's going to happen to you? Because you're not working really that the people need in society to make your money honestly. You just there in the earth, sitting down, engaged in sex work to make your money. That has a shelf life. I remember the book Kicked Out of Heaven, Volume 1. It talks about the adult entertainment life in Europe. It's not pretty. Usually they look at women after a certain point. If you are a certain age, you age out on the market. You don't believe me? Get that book. Kick Out of Heaven, Volume 1. I forgot what chapter it talks about, but it goes detail about the sex market in Europe. It's no different 300, 400, 500 years ago, and no different now. I'll end on that note. So, lesson learned. Stop listening to dumb women that's out here being prostitutes and whores out in the streets. It's not a good look. Ladies, just saying. All right, thank y'all for listening to today's stream. I hope you like this broadcast. I mean, if you can go through this and watch and listen to the very beginning and I commend you with utmost respects. But if you only got for the 30 minutes, you're missing out. I'm just saying, just me. The links to follow me are below. You can follow me on Twitter at Chaos27. You can add me as a friend on Facebook, Eric Ray on Facebook. Join my Discord service. Follow me on Rumble, CRain23. And last but not least, become a member of the Chaos Reign Show as well. Membership guys, perks like always. Make sure to leave a comment on your way in, on your way out on this broadcast, and give this video a like. And if you're not subscribed to the Chaos Reign Show, what the F are you waiting for? I'm saying for real, for real. You know I'm good for this, man. Until next time, let Chaos Reign.